Our field of 68 off the Carousel series rolls into Manhattan, the Big Apple, with the head coach, the new head coach of the Jaspers. He helped the Hartford Hawks in their Division I era to an America East Tournament championship back in 2021, was the America East Co-Coach of the Year in 2018. And now he's back at it with Manhattan, taking over the Jaspers program. It's John Gallagher joining us on the field of 68. John, it's great to have you. It's great to see you. What's it been like stepping into Manhattan and taking over as the leader of the Jaspers?
It's been just a whirlwind of an experience. My 12 years at Hartford really prepared me for this moment. I think it's very humbling, the great coaches that have coached here. Coach Lapis, Coach Fraschilla, Coach Gonzalez, Coach Masiello, all those guys just did an amazing job. And Coach Stores did a great job last year. Just really excited about the future.
I want to go back to your roots. So you play college basketball at St. Joe's.
Yes.
Which means you play for Phil Martelli.
The legend.
What was that like?
You know, a lot of people ask me that, and it was, first off, it was the best experience ever. It was just getting a doctorate degree on how you run a program. And, you know, I think everyone says, what did you learn from him the most? And I think his unconditional love for his players. I think just the way he led the program, the way he embraced everyone on the team. And I think that's the first thing. He could really coach the game, but the way he made you feel as a player, I can't tell you, that is one of the biggest takeaways I can say about my experience at St. Joe's.
What made you fall in love with basketball?
You know, I think the first time my dad took me into the Plestra, walked in, I probably was 4 or 5 years old, and you come through the building, and that's what, if you said to me, what's the main reason why there's so many Division I coaches from Philly?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a person. I think it's the building. And the building has such an effect on your love for the game. I think you could say the same thing for New York City with the Garden. But I think this place, the Plestra, is not a place. It's a living organism. It's like it's a human experience.
I think about your journey to this point, and I was reading a feature on you a few years back, and you talked about at Hartford at one point really fighting for your job there, and telling your team before a season that, look, guys, if I can't do it with this much talent, it might not work. It's probably not for me anymore. And you talked about everybody being a family, everybody being in a neighborhood. What does the John Gallagher neighborhood entail?
Well, the story is, and my new assistant, J.R. Lynch, was on that team. And that really transformed my coaching because, I think as a young head coach, you try to take from this guy, take from that guy. And I just said, I'm done. And I think the podcasts are great. I think just going to the coaching clinics are unbelievable. But you have to own something as a head coach. You have to really, really live and die with it. And you have to be able to go into a season and say, this is our philosophy. We're going to win this way, and we're going to lose this way, and they shall not differ. And I think we really, in that 5-year stretch, finished top 4 all 5 years, had some amazing wins, 4 high major wins, beat BC twice, Rutgers, and Northwestern. And for Hartford, traditionally, we wouldn't do that. That wouldn't happen. So I think why that happened was we just blocked out the noise. And I think we just got to work. And I think the neighborhood, that slogan took on its own, just being a part of something bigger than yourself. And every time we recruited, we would say, is this guy a neighborhood guy? Does he have the mentality? So, we're transitioning into the borough here, but at the same time, it's the same formula. It's very similar. And I think if I took off my shirt, you would see the scars from those losing seasons. Yeah. And you have to live the pain of those losing seasons have really built me as a coach. And it's really built us. So I'm very humble. I mean, I'm a humble guy. I probably wasn't 12 years ago. I probably had all the answers. Right now, I don't have the answers. I tell you what I do have. We have the work ethic. We have the identity. We know how we want to win. We know how we want to lose. And we're willing to live with that.
What is that identity?
Well, on the offensive side of the ball, we don't shoot, like we have a 95% rule. It's so important for us. If you're at the rim, do you know how many missed shots because there's defense there? So shot selection is so important for us. Second thing is we want to shoot standstill threes. And then the third thing is we want to start the domino. We call it bring two to the ball. So that's sort of our offensive philosophy in a nutshell. We do it in many different ways with our, we run in an isolation play, or we run in a motion play, or we run in a misdirection play, or we run in a post touch play. And there's so many different ways we get to it. And then defensively, obviously we're 70% man, 30% rover, which is our 1-3-1 in honor of John Chaney. And we live and die with the rover in certain spots. And that's sort of how we are. And that identity is what we do every day.
How much does John Chaney mean to you?
Well, just growing up in Philly, I think he's the best college basketball coach of all time. Obviously, I studied under Dan Leibowitz for many, many years. He was probably one of the most insightful head coaches I've ever worked for. His approach, I'm a really fast-going guy, and now later in my career, I've really taken Dan's personality. I know it's weird, but after games, I don't react. So I've stolen that from Dan. I really don't react. I'm 30 seconds in the locker room, a minute, and I'm out. As a young head coach, I didn't do that, but I've tried to take Dan's wisdom. So I think that's through Coach Chaney. So, Temple, 5 grade 8s, some of the best basketball as a kid growing up. Aaron McKee and Eddie Jones and Rick Brunson, that team, that was just such a great team to watch. And then to see that Lynn Greer team and Leonard Stewart, and obviously the Pepe Sanchez run when they were #1 in the country. So I just have great respect for Coach and Coach Leibowitz that, a lot of that is in my program.
What I love about you is you played and you end your college career in 1999, and then you jump right in at LaSalle. You jump right in with Speedy Morris, right?
The legend.
I mean, to go from playing for Coach Martelli and your first job in coaching is for Coach Morris, it speaks to why you're a basketball lifer.
So, this year off I had a lot of reflection. What would I have to get better at? And Speedy's genius was shot selection is not a democracy. Okay. Your best players better be getting 80% of your shots. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. You can win a lot of ways and you can lose a lot of ways. And Speedy used to say, we need to know why we win and why we lose. And Speedy was such a, had such wisdom. And he's a Philadelphia legend. And it was such a great experience. And then I transitioned into Billy Hahn, which was, God rest in peace, Coach Hahn, because he had such an effect on me on the recruiting end. If you don't recruit every day, your heart's not going to work, meaning the program's heart's not going to work. And it's code red every day, recruit every day. And I took that from Coach Hahn. And then Franny O'Hanlon, which was, John, it was the most transformative from an offensive standpoint.
What did the last year entail for John Gallagher?
Well, the game, just, I think all us coaches, every one of us is the same. Like, we're all fighting. And I watched so many games. There'll be a day I watch 10 games on a Saturday. And I really felt for the losing coach because I had PTSD watching some of the losses. And then I could feel, the winning coach, just how much effort it takes. Winning is so hard. And that's what I think studying different aspects of the game. Porter Moses is one of my best buddies. He lost the game at Kansas. And in my mind, they were up the whole game. It was at Kansas. It was early January.
Yeah.
And I broke the remote against the wall. Right. I shattered my remote. And I got up. I was like, what am I doing? Because I felt I just felt that game, they led up 8, 5 to go. And you get so enthralled with your friends' games. And, whether it's Porter, Timmy Miles, David Patrick at Sacramento State, there's guys I'd be up watching David. I watched every one of Sacramento State's games, and you just dive into your friends' games, and you kind of dive into their team, their personnel, what they can do. Obviously, Stevie Dunio and Mike Martin, I stayed away from that game, but, which I do every year.
Whether you're on the couch or not, you're staying away from that game.
I actually, in that game, I kind of just stay. I just literally don't talk to either of them. Just stay away.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That being the matchup between Penn and Brown in the Ivy League with Coach Donahue and Coach Martin. John Gallagher, our guest on Field of 68 off the Carousel. So I think about you because you talk about watching all that basketball, and you're a guy that's embedded in this sport and embedded in the depths of it. Did you, when you have a year, do you look at okay, how do I adapt? How do I maybe change? Is there something that you tried to focus on personally? Maybe it's something with your kids. Maybe it's something that you took up that you had never done before, whether it be a hobby or something. I'm just curious if there's anything new in the life of Coach Gallagher.
Well, obviously, I worked out a ton. I had a lot of free time. I watched a ton of tape. I did a lot of tape of, what we were doing at Hartford over the years. I thought about, could I be without basketball? And I went to a Division III game, and Steve Levy from ESPN is one of my close friends in town. When I lived in Hartford, but it's the University of St. Joe's. They were playing Division III, and it was I think it was the NCAA tournament. No, it was their championship game.
And that's Coach Calhoun's. That's Jim Calhoun's St. Joe's, right?
Yeah. So Glenn Miller took over.
Yep.
And they're playing Albertus Magnus in the finals. And the clouds, and Steve Levy taps me on the shoulder and he says, "You have to coach again." And in my mind, I still remember it because we were up top, and I had this feeling like and he felt what I was feeling, like I got to do this again. And the juices and being in that setting with your team that you've worked, like I have to have a team. I have to be a part of something bigger than myself. And I knew it at that moment. As far as what I tried to work on was my golf game, and I got probably worse.
It didn't help.
No, no, I actually thought maybe it's a sign I have to give this up, because you could shoot, a good round, and then the next day you shoot 10 shots over what you shot. That's not fun.
How'd you become friends with Steve Levy?
I coached his two sons in the COVID year in baseball, Little League baseball. And then that was probably 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 4 years ago. And then we hit it off, and he was the assistant on my kids' flag football team 5 years ago. And then we just hit it off. And then I actually went this year. You want to know one of the fun things I did? I sat in the booth with him on the Eagles Colts game.
Wow.
He gave me a gift. He said, "You're flying to Indy." And the Eagles almost lost the game. It would have been like, oh, did I jinx them? And I sat and watched him do a game, and I walked around the media booth, and it was a scene. It was a good experience for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you talk about your kids. You have 4 kids, right?
Yeah, 4 kids, and they're in basketball. They're in, my daughter's really into basketball and soccer. She's 14, so it's nonstop. My other one's into gymnastics and soccer and basketball. And then my son is trying to be the next Bo Jackson at baseball and football with a little basketball.
John, turn to your team this upcoming year. For those Jasper followers and the Mac followers out there watching, you talk about, hey, your best player's got to be taking 80% of your shots. Now, it's early. It's very, very early. But who could we expect to potentially serve as leaders for this Manhattan team this upcoming year? Who are you counting on?
Well, I think, this is obviously there was 9 seniors on the team last year and 2 left. So you're filling 11 spots. So, but early on in the first, this is our 3rd week of practice. So I think the biggest excitement I have is in the freshman Seydou Traore from the Bronx. 6'8", very, very versatile, fits my, he would be the prototypical 4-man. And, the coaches out there that have coached against me in the America East understand. He could be a 40% 3-point shooter. He's a high-level rebounder, and he could score inside out. He just is going to have to learn the terminology of our system, and that's what we're doing every day now. But he's the most versatile 4-man we probably have had in a long, long time. And then after that, Briggs McLean, who played for me in Hartford, he'll have 2 years of eligibility, which he'll be a really good leader for us. And then Perry Cowan from Brown, he'll have a great year for us. I think he's really ready to go. And then we have Brett Rumpel, who I'm really excited about, from St. Bonaventure. He brings a certain level of toughness. He'll be really good in our system. He's a great cutter, and you have to be a great cutter to play in our system. And then there's a transfer from Weber State, Daniel Rusin, who is a real physical kid. We have to get him in great shape. But those 5 have really stepped up. And then there's an array of other guys. Shaquille Bender is a junior college transfer from Philadelphia. He could be a surprise, but it's so early. We're just trying to make sure that they're cutting in the right direction.
What do you make of the current climate of college basketball? And How does it impact a place like the one you're in, Manhattan?
It is, right now it's like for me, uh, I always say this: we don't live in drama. We live above. We don't live on the drama triangle. Where there's a victim, a villain, and a hero. We don't even go there. So we're just trying to live above the line, and we have to work every day. What does that mean? Okay, we're in the climate we're in until the United States Congress decides to enact rules. We're going to have to just every day get up and work. And you have to have that mentality. I got through the hardest part of my career, which was the Hartford years, right? Meaning when you were losing, turning that ship around, and we turned it. You come into here, it prepared me. Now the climate has changed. You get a great player, he could be offered a lot of money somewhere else. What is the appetite for Manhattan College alums? I don't know. What is the appetite for the MAC conference? I don't know. Here's what I know. We got to fill our roster with people that fit the mission of our university, of our college. And it's a great place. Riverdale is a great place to go to school. This is a great campus with an amazing alumni base. One of my first calls was the chairman of our board. He's the CEO of American Express, Steve Squeri. He wants to win. This place wants to win. So we have to open the doors, we have to hug everybody, and we have to find a way to win.
There's a new man in the Riverdale neighborhood. His name is John Gallagher. Coach, congratulations on this opportunity. I know that you've been through the ups, the downs, and you just keep on fighting because that's the way that you are, and you fight on to a brand new opportunity, a well-deserved opportunity. Very happy for you, and thanks for joining us on the Field of 68's Off the Carousel.
John, as always, I appreciate you, and congrats on all your success.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's Field 68, FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.